fairness, in the interest of full disclosure, I've told Damian Lillard this. I've told C.J. McCollum this. I think they're one of the best backcourts in the NBA, easily top three. But the bottom line is I think that in order for them to win the title, one of them is going to have to be moved for big-time assets to join the other in Portland in order for Portland to capture a championship. Nurkic is an injury waiting to happen, and even when he's healthy, he doesn't play any defense, but he's big-time offensively. You see the other parts around them, they're good, they're better than average, but I just think that when you consider the size that exists with both LA teams, when you consider what Utah has at its disposal, when you consider the fact that Denver has arrived with the Joker and Jamal Murray and those boys, I just think at some point in time, that backcourt, it's not enough. And then when you could try to compare that to Golden State, well, first of all, Golden State is the greatest shooting backcourt in the history of basketball, and with Klay Thompson, a healthy Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Secondly, Klay Thompson's 6'7" and can defend. And so Portland with Dame and CJ can outscore most people, and they can drop buckets against anybody. But defensively, what are you going to be able to do? So I just look at them saying, one of those guys have to go to get big-time assets in return for them. And even though I think that Terry Stotts knows basketball, he can coach it or whatever, there's something missing from him as a coach. I've always said this to you too, Jay. When you look at Terry Stotts, he knows the game, X's and O's. He's not going to have you unprepared. But in terms of peeling that little something extra out of you to really maximize the potential that he has available to him, I've never seen that from Terry Stotts. He doesn't appear to me to be that kind of coach. And I think at some point in time, the Blazers are going to have to look at that.
S.A., with how loaded the West is, with LeBron James obviously being their AD, with what's happening with the Clippers and Kawhi and PG, Phoenix Suns, number 2 in the West, Denver Nuggets, they're always coming with Jokic. Do you believe Steph Curry will win another championship in Golden State?
Yes. I think that as long as Klay Thompson is healthy, with the two of them together, I think that Steph Curry is the greatest shooter God has ever created. I think that Klay Thompson is one of the top 5 shooters in NBA history. I think together they're the greatest shooting backcourt we have ever seen. And it's not just their marksmanship, their sniper-like abilities from long range. Klay Thompson has post-up ability. And by the way, they rarely miss from the free throw line. Last time I checked, fouls and foul shots end up equaling up to points as well. And so I look at it from that perspective, and I just say to myself, excuse me, Wiseman, I got news for you. He's an upgrade from Zsa Pachulia or Andrew Bogut. I look at the Wiggins and the Kelly Oubres of the world and others. If you're talking about Klay Thompson and Steph Curry being in a lineup healthy together, I easily have them in a conference finals next year, assuming they're both healthy. That's how confident I am in their ability to be that productive offensively. I think Steve Kerr's an exceptional coach. I think they moved the basketball. I think their defense was underrated when they were going to 5 consecutive NBA finals. I just think that they're not a joke, and you're going to have to deal with them. That's just the way that I view it, and I can definitely see them winning another championship within the next 2 to 3 years. Absolutely.
Let's stay out west, man. Right now, you got to deal with CP3 and the Phoenix Suns. They sitting at number 2, the number 2 seed right now. Now, they for real to the point where they're going, all right, well, then I don't even to finish. You already got me.
No. Devin Booker is a star. CP3 is an incredible leader. I can't say enough about Monty Williams and his coaching staff and how great of a job that they have done and how he's resurrected that franchise. Sarver owes him the world. Let me be very clear about that. But I will tell you this, even though they're an elite defensive team, top 5 as well, what I would say to you about the Phoenix Suns is that I think that they're relatively young, and they're missing a couple of pieces to really get over the hump. And when we in terms of us talking about them coming out of the West, could they win a first-round series? Sure. Could they make a second-round series? Very, very interesting. Yes. But I think when you talk about the championship equation that you're supposed to have at your disposal, I think they're a tad bit shy of that. But they do have defense. They do have leadership. They do have leadership from the point guard spot without question, and they have a star in Devin Booker. I just think that ultimately when you go against those experienced teams come play.
I'm not saying it's easy to be a general manager. I'm not saying it's easy to be an owner of a team or to delegate that responsibility to a general manager.
Jay, we got to be fair here, though.
It
is an all-star game when you start talking about selecting. You're not getting an all-star team when you own a team.
No, but I do think LeBron James' ability to assess talent is a little bit different.
So let me ask you this, though. You don't think that Michael Jordan, if the same type of I don't know,
draft selection
selection
for the All-Star
process
game.
from the All-Star game, you don't think MJ can pick the same All-Star? You only got 30 All-Star players to choose from. You don't think he can pick 15 top dudes out of the All-Star team?
No, I'm sure he could. I'm sure. I don't know if he wins every single year that he does it.
But it's an All-Star game.
That's fine. But that was one of my data points to utilize for the argument that LeBron James is talented at assessing talent. And I'm not saying it's easy to assess talent, but Key, if you're saying the average for assessing talent is a decent GM, the Charlotte Hornets have been exponentially below average for a long ass time,
He has not hit on all of his players, if any at all, in Charlotte.
LaMelo.
More the latter.
So far, LaMelo.
And he got Gordon Hayward. They traded for Gordon Hayward. Like I said, they're moving in the right direction.
My man that's up in
Kemba Walker.
Kemba Walker. So
yeah, but they didn't pay Kemba Walker. They decided not to do that.
I understand. But was that the right move or the wrong move?
That was the right move, right?
That's all I'm saying. Was it the right move or the wrong move?
Long term, right now. Yes.
Right, it's the right move.
Yes.
So when you start to look at it, my whole point is, though, as a player, it's easy for me to select guys to put around me because I'm the man. I can go get AD. But if I'm sitting back as a general manager and I'm looking between Giannis and AD and another big that got some stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting back. Which one of the three do I want? As a player, I know he works with me better as a player.
Here's where I will give LeBron James a slight edge. Michael Jordan, as he did more things, didn't spend a lot of time in the youth, right? In the youth. LeBron James, Mav, and Rich, they spend so much time in the youth about what's next. Hear me on this.
I get
for a
it.
second.
No, I get
knowing
it.
about Imani Bates,
Yes.
knowing about like the next top tier talent, even though he's 36 years old, he spends so much time in the trenches, allows him to better assess with the tool set around him, with the toolkit around him, to be a better evaluator of that talent because he's still in it like that. And I don't think LeBron James will not be in it like that. Look at D Wade, the way these guys are with the youth. Like it's different. That generation with MJ and those guys, it wasn't the same kind of involvement.
But I understand that the AAU circuit, the high school basketball, Sierra Canyon with his son, you're around all of these players, you get a chance to sniff it out. I understand that.
But you're saying eventually he will be past that.
Eventually he will be past that.
But that's what I'm saying. That's where guys like Rich Paul.
Can you? Okay. As much as I love Rich Paul and I love agents, I love them. I think they're great.
He's not just an agent, though.
No, but wait, hold on, man. It's easy, Jay, to represent the top dudes. I got to find a dude over in Europe somewhere. I got to find a dude in China. I got to find a dude in Canada. And then I got to compare all of these guys against each other. It's a totally different thing than when I look in a magazine as an agent.
Okay.
And I know, oh, man, this is Zion Williamson. Of course.
Let me rephrase the question. Do you think LeBron James, as an owner and being involved in decisions, personnel decisions, will have the same track record as Michael Jordan with the Hornets? Or do you think it'll be slightly, because the floor is pretty low, Key.
I don't want you to say it that way. I'm going to answer it a certain way. I think LeBron James will be successful as an owner of any sports franchise he puts his hands on because he's driven. But to say that he's going to be more successful picking talent, I can't. I'm not going to do that because I don't know that.
Let's part it, because Michael Jordan is extremely successful and he's extremely driven, right? All I'm saying is that the history, if you look at the data points of what's going on with the Charlotte Hornets until they started to turn the corner recently, has been pretty low, Key. It's been below average. So you don't have to do, from a personnel perspective, that much, that's what I'm saying, to surpass what the history of the data points have proven for the Hornets. That's all I'm saying. Does that not make sense?
I get what you try to say, Jay, but you're talking about a current player who's on the floor who can attract people versus an owner who's picking guys. He can't. Is salary caps involved? There's all
I understand all that.
things. And the city.
I understand.
It's easy. It's easy for me if I'm LeBron James to go get AD to come to LA.
Speaking of the city, let's bring a guy in to this conversation from the city I played in, Dave Kaplan. Dave, you've been hearing us talk about this. What do you think? How do you think LeBron James would do as an owner compared to Michael Jordan as owner?
So you're not going to like this, Jay, because you know I love you. I'm with Key on this. What team is LeBron getting? He getting the Memphis Grizzlies?
Obviously, there's a lot of factors. Obviously, there's a lot of factors. I don't know what team LeBron's getting.
Don't try to use
Dave.
your Duke education right now on us.
You
don't
stop
you
it right
dare.
now, Dave. I don't know. Do you want to make up a scenario of a team? Give me a team.
I'm gonna sit back now like you, Zubin.
Okay, LeBron buys the, I don't know. He'll give you the Memphis Grizzlies. He buys the Minnesota Timberwolves. Are you convinced he's going to get guys to come there? Because all I know is every business deal Michael Jordan makes, he makes millions. He's a brilliant businessman. Charlotte's just not a great market to go get players. And on top of it, I thought they did a really poor job.
Stop putting your hands up.
He surrounded himself with at the start.
Dave, I know that's hard. But Dave, you don't see my point. The data points prove because of how bad Charlotte's been. I'm not saying it's not hard to do. I'm not saying it's not hard. It's hard to recruit or to draft incredible talent to your city, especially if you're in a team like Memphis. Look what they're doing, right, with Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson. All I'm saying is that floor is pretty low. Is it not?
It is. He doesn't have a high